On October 6, 2025, a pair of hitmen were sentenced to a combined minimum of 50 years in prison for the daylight execution of Northern Ireland drug kingpin Malcolm McKeown in 2019. 31-year-old Jake O'Brien, who pled innocent, was sentenced to a minimum of 26 years, while 30-year-old Andrew "Chimp" Martin was sentenced to a 24-year minimum. His slightly lighter sentence the result of entering a late guilty plea, with the judge describing the well-planned and calculated murder as reminiscent of a terrorist ambush. 36-year-old Stevie Watson and Simon Smith, who were charged alongside O'Brien and Martin, were both found innocent of the murder in June 2025.
Those responsible for his death had one intention, and that was to kill. They showed no thought for anyone, including children who were in the area at that time. Surely such acts of shocking and senseless violence have no place whatsoever in our society.
O'Brien and Martin are members of the Firm, the cross-community drugs gang that has wreaked havoc across County Armagh for the past decade, and for many years were involved in a violent feud with McKeown, who had attempted to tax their dealers for selling on his turf. In early August 2019, the first attempt on McKeown's life was made when an armed and masked Jake O'Brien and Andrew Martin came calling at his Warringstown address, but McKeown, who was on remand for aggravated assault at the time, never answered the door. It is almost certain O'Brien and Martin would have shot him dead if he had. But on August 12th, McKeown made bail for the assault and returned to his Warringstown home, where as a security measure, McKeown parked his car at a filling station half a mile away. And a week later, on Monday, August 19th, McKeown entered the station at approximately 7:15 p.m. before exiting at 7:19 and getting into his BMW parked behind the station. That's when two men in boiler suits approached the car and fired 16 shots into the vehicle, hitting McKeown once in the head and 5 times in the torso. The men then hopped into a blue Volkswagen parked at the side of the station and sped away before a group of teenagers discovered McKeown's dead body. The Volkswagen then arrived in Lurgan's Mornview estate 10 minutes later, where it was set on fire and abandoned. But O'Brien and Martin were sloppy criminals, as CCTV captured them both running away from the burning car, along with O'Brien's DNA being found on a glove inside the burnt-out Volkswagen. Jake O'Brien, Andrew Martin, Stevie Watson, and Simon Smith, who police believe possess the murder weapons, would all be arrested and charged with the murder of Malcolm McKeown, but each would be granted bail and released. After Andrew Martin was arrested, police found 3 different phones hidden around his house, with Martin's internet history revealing hundreds of searches for things like how to buy guns, how to sleep after committing murder, if you can travel to America while on bail, and stories about McKeown before and after the shooting. Andrew Martin was clearly not a criminal mastermind, and neither was Jake O'Brien. In September 2020, Jake O'Brien would breach his bail when cops observed him traveling outside Lurgan in a van. O'Brien was arrested and taken into custody without hassle, with police describing him as being in a nervous and sweaty state. But District Judge Rosie Waters would only give O'Brien a slap on the wrist and allow continued bail to his Lurgan address. It was a highly questionable decision Judge Waters would live to regret. Because in January 2023, 39-year-old Lurgan man Shane Whitla owed the firm a drug debt that had only gotten bigger. And on the night of January 12th, Whitla received a phone call telling him to meet 2 men in an alley near his Kilwilkie estate home. And given Whitla's willingness to go to the alley, he likely expected a punishment beating or shooting. Minutes later, Whitla entered the alley and 2 men followed him in. And seconds after that, gunshots erupted as the 2 men ran back out. But Shane Whitla did not. because what was meant to be punishment had become murder. Whitla was shot multiple times, including in the back. And as the shooters made their escape, the father of 4 bled to death as he attempted to find help.
Shane leaves loved ones behind, including 4 children. He was shot a number of times, including once in the back. No one should protect the person responsible for this murder.
2 weeks later, 25-year-old Kevin Conway, 29-year-old Josh Cotter, and a 27-year-old Jake O'Brien were charged with the murder of Shane Whitla, with detectives believing Conway phoned Whitla to come to the alley, and O'Brien and Cotter fired the fatal shots. O'Brien, who is finally denied bail, pled innocent and is currently awaiting his second murder trial. Josh Cotter also pled not guilty, but was granted bail. Lurgan man Kevin Conway, who is granted bail to an address in West Belfast, never made his plea hearing, as he was shot to death by dissident Republican gang Oakland Ahern, aka ONH, in January 2024. While everyone is innocent until proven guilty, it should not be lost on anyone that Jake O'Brien may well have committed murder while on bail for murder. And if he's found guilty of killing Shane Whitla, I hope the judge considers a sentence that reflects the absolute stupidity of his actions. But the already strong jail terms handed to Jake O'Brien and Andrew Martin for the murder of Malcolm McKeown should serve as a cautionary tale to any young person thinking about joining a gang, as the 2 hitmen will be in their mid-50s before they can even be considered for release, watching loved ones pass away and the world pass them by from the inside of a cold prison cell. And while their gang, the Firm, has kept a low profile in the past year, make no mistake, they are still very much in business across County Armagh. And given how many of their members have gone to prison in recent years, the Firm's presence is sizable both on and off the streets. Malcolm McKeown's murder is a textbook case of someone who lived by the gun and died by it too. And given the crimes he committed and the enemies he made, it was probably inevitable that his life would end violently one way or another.
Do you believe justice was done?
Yes, justice was done. It's a beautiful day. A very good day for us after nearly 7 long years.
But while he had many enemies, Malcolm McKeown also had a family. And during the victim's impact portion of the trial, McKeown's daughter Kirsty said a few words. "This is only telling you the surface of my pain and how it has changed me. People will never understand unless they go through it themselves. Nothing will compare to the life sentence they have imposed on me and my family. I have nothing left to say.